Welcome back to AskAPop. Today we're talking about preparation and open doors. Okay, way back in my day, it isn't officially appropriate to where we can use that. I feel what your grandparent, it's okay to say it, but inquiring minds want to know when the official cutoff is. Anyway, back in my day, we used to walk 7 miles uphill in the snow both ways, mind you, to school. And but we had a rotational model there to where one of our classes, we called it basically an adulting class, and it happened through the 7th through the 10th grades, and it consisted of a sewing class, a cooking class, a shop class, and a civics business class. And I learned a lot in those classes, and some of them really stuck with me through life, through the rest of my life. Honestly, I probably learned a lot more in some of those classes than I did in some of the core classes, if I'm being honest with myself. But the reason that I'm talking about them today is as I was walking through my garage, I looked at my chop saw, and all of a sudden my 14-year-old self just popped out and remembered the first time that I walked into Mr. Underwood's woodworking shop. And he was telling us of all the dangers of the big power tools that were in there. And he told us that, obviously how dangerous the tools were in there, but he said that if we could pay attention and be really good students, that he would show us how to use some of those tools in there. Ended up paying a lot more attention in those classes than usually electives warranted, but I ended up graduating from a coping saw all the way up to the point to where I ended up using my one and only elective my ninth grade year. So not only could I use some of those power tools, but learn how to teach others how to use those power tools as one of his shop assistants. I ended up taking something that I was, you know, afraid of to begin with to something that I was still in awe of. But as long as I knew my place and knew all the safety rules, I could end up using it to help me and learn how to use it uh, for the good. Now, I there's a couple of reminders in my house on a daily basis that I keep, that go along these same ways. The first is the door we replaced for Tony's birthday one year. When we first pulled the frame out and had this big gaping hole, there was a lot of prayer and preparation before and during the replacement of that door because it scared the daylights out of me when we pulled it out. But as we put the new door in and we started fiddling with it and getting it to work, it just worked perfectly and it was awesome. The second is the cross that literally is the first thing that you see when you pull into our driveway. It reminds me and everybody else that as for me and my house, we will follow the Lord. Reminds everybody who the master of the house is. Hey, that's a pretty catchy statement. I think we might want to use that as a Bible verse today. Sometimes we really do get caught up in the weeds on the small stuff in our daily life. But if we remember who's really in charge, hint, it ain't us. He's seen everything, he knows everything, and if we simply turn things over to him, he'll help us out of the troubles. But it's just like that door. We need to prepare for things, but as long as prayer and preparation are part of the things that we're doing, and as long as we're willing to help ourselves out as well, he can open any door for us. Hey, you see what I did there? Anyway, the Bible verses today are Isaiah 40:21 through 31, and Joshua 24 verse 15. Just that one verse, I think you'll like it. Anyway, as far as questions go, do you have any classes that you took way back in your school that you remember fondly? How about teachers that you remember fondly? God bless you. Have a great day.